Long-spined sea urchins, also known as diadema antillarum, are likely not your favorite underwater creature. In fact, if you accidentally step on one, you can almost guarantee a most painful sensation when its pointy needles clasp onto your skin. But this is a defense mechanism, and they serve a much greater purpose for Caribbean oceans.
Essentially, how urchins and other herbivores like parrotfish work is they work in tandem to keep down that vegetation. So that vegetation will be the algae, right? And the parrotfish tend to eat the bigger, more leafier algae, versus, so think about like the trees, and the urchins eat the shrubs and the grass. In combination, they create this bare space which corals can then grow from. Right, so that's the combination that's needed for them to keep it healthy. So if you look at a reef and there's a lot of algae, there's normally not a lot of urchins and a lot of herbivorous fish like parrotfish around. If there's very little algae, you tend to have high herbivory. That's extremely important because corals are the foundation of the marine ecosystem here in the Caribbean.
They keep the waters clear and pristine, one of the main attractions for masses of tourists who visit Antigua and Barbuda each year. In mid-February, authorities in Charlotte-Amalie Harbour in St. Thomas, however, noticed a phenomenon that was very similar to a period of mass die-off in Jamaica 39 years ago. In March 2020, the National Parks Authority in Antigua and Barbuda discovered sea urchin die-off within the national park around Falmouth Harbour.
And it raised alarms instantly because it very much reflected what the records showed that happened before. Within a month, anywhere from Belize to Jamaica to right here in Antigua, Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, these islands all started to report urchin deaths. And it actually seems to be spreading faster now than it did the first time around.
About a week after the discovery, the authority began to receive additional reports of urchins washing ashore at English Harbour, Pensioners Bay, Deep Bay, and on the north side of the island. Antigua and Barbuda is just one on a growing list of countries in the region that have witnessed die-off of the diadema. The disease is suspected to be waterborne. There are suspicions that the unknown causative agent could originate from areas with harbours.
Given that it tends to be starting from harbours where there's more boat and yacht traffic, so it may be travelling on those vectors and getting into other areas, but it's definitely transgression throughout the Caribbean, and it starts in these harbours and then it radiates out to different areas. So, like for instance, within Nelson Dockyard National Park, we first saw it in Falmouth, coming out of Falmouth Harbour. Now we've seen it in English Harbour, we've seen it in a couple other places, we've seen it several other parts around the island. And so there's been this formation of a diadema response network that's trying to better understand how it's spreading, how fast it's spreading, and possibly what can we do about it.
Researchers in Antigua and Barbuda have begun to extract tissue samples from both healthy and sick urchins to understand and to identify the pathogen that has begun to kill them. The samples they collect will be sent to Cornell University in New York for testing. In the meantime, there is concern that the disease is spreading faster and more aggressively than when it was first documented in 1983.
Disease started to affect the urchins throughout the Caribbean. It started to pop up in areas like Jamaica, and then it rapidly spread, and within a 2-year period, over 90% of the urchins within this region died off. So we went from having average densities of 10 per meter squared to less than 0.1 per meter squared.
But Camacho is hoping that history does not repeat itself and that this time he will be on the cutting edge of science.